Hey, glorious souls, Kel here with your Soul Service Astrology update for the 21st of November, 2022. Overall, here's my hook for this week. It's about advocating with love, not fear, to step into our power. So if you'd like some opportunities, like to understand the energetic opportunities this week holds to do just that, then hang around and have a listen, because I'm going to launch into a little energetic summary of what's going to happen over the next 7 days from the 21st of November. And then if you want to hear more detail, I'm going to explain it in a little bit more detail. So if we haven't met, hi, I'm Kel. I'm a 13th sign sidereal astrologist. So some of the astrology you might hear here will sound different to maybe 99% of all astrologers on YouTube. And there's a reason for that, is that the planets don't match that astrology, what you can see in the sky. So I am really passionate about bringing astronomy and astrology back together. We should be looking at our sky, where the planets are, is what we can see, just like our season where we are. It's what we can see. That's coming back into ecological connection. That's coming back to environmental connection. That's understanding our ecological and environmental intelligence, and the sky is part of that. Okay, so here's the little summary, the energetic summary that's happening for this week. So there's two key aspects happening this week. The first one is there is a new moon on the 24th of November, and that's Thursday, the 24th of November. I had to check my calendar. We have a new moon, and it happens on the cusp between two signs. So it's when the moon is moving from Libra into Scorpio is where we will have the new moon. And it's occurring around the same time that the sun is moving into Scorpio. So we're moving the moon represents our intuitive intelligence, but also our emotional intelligence. So it's our feelings and our emotions. And under a new moon, archetypally, it's an opportunity to step into freshness and innocence, and to have that kind of, I don't know where I'm going feeling. With this new moon energy, we're moving from a really harmonious, compassionate feeling towards being the advocate for injustice, for issues that we feel really passionate about. And then we're moving into Scorpio. And it wants to do it in a really powerful, intense way. It's basically like no more Mr. Nice Person, Mrs. Nice Person, trying to throw out the gender there. So what might happen is you might have an issue that you feel really passionate about, but it kind of does an about face about how you're going to start to bring it into your life, either acting for it, speaking about it, creating about it, serving it. And it starts, you realize that, oh, actually, that's the right way to talk about it. It might sound a little bit more intense and powerful and scary even, but remember, this is trying to amass a movement for what it is, the injustices that you're passionate about, so that you can get people to move. So we might have to look at the yucky parts to our collective unconscious, to our collective conscious that's staring us right in the face. We might need to look at those yucky parts so that then we can step into our power, so that we can start to continue to make the changes, but also support ourselves and our communities. So the new moon is an opportunity for you to set intentions around what it is that you're advocating for, and where is my power at the moment? And how can I start to amplify my power? Because that's when the sun is moving in to Scorpio as well. And typically we need to clear out limiting beliefs to amplify our power. We need to stand in big faith within ourselves. And interestingly enough, Jupiter does go direct this week. So that helps us start to stop really being in a nebulous state, being confused, but really understanding, okay, so maybe I do need to go and seek some more information. Maybe I need to go and be curious. down this particular pathway. There's a settling in. And again, that also ties in with the other big aspect that's happening this week, where Saturn is trine Mars. Now, Saturn's in Capricorn and Mars is in Taurus. So 2 earth signs. So think earthy things. Saturn in Capricorn is very much in leader mode. It's really calling for us to step into our wisdom so that we can show others that we're leading. Now, it's going to be really easy. That's what trine energy is. It's going to be really easy for you to make decisions and to do things, to get things done here on the earth plane. Now, Mars is retrograde, so it might happen slower than you would like, but it's still happening, right? So that's the retrograde element. It's that you might have to go over a few things, but it will still feel like, actually, no, that's the right thing to happen. You know, when sort of things don't go to plan, but it ends up being the right plan that it didn't go to plan. So that fits in really nicely, where we get to start to step up into our leadership with our wisdom. We get to be more compassionate leaders, more compassionate advocates, and we start to embrace our power, and we start to maybe give voice through our personality and our shining and our creativity to some maybe the mucky parts to our collective conscious and our collective unconscious, and that we can sit and hold others, particularly it might be those really close to us, the intimacy component of Scorpio, those really close to us, so that they can then process and we can process together, but then that starts to move outwards into your larger community. So that is this week. We are really stepping into our emotional power. There's ease around being practical and getting things done. And it's easy to be the leader, and we're going to start to lead from love, not fear, even though some of the issues might be really big and hairy and juicy and scary. So if that's what you want to listen to tonight, thank you very much. Please subscribe to this channel or come and join my Facebook group, Sidereal Stars with Kelly Gunter. I do monthly energy evaluations in there, usually under a new moon or a full moon or some beautiful aspect, and you get to receive personal information if you do turn up live. And they usually run like a guided meditation, so you get something beautiful out of it. Even if you can't arrive live, you can go and look at the ones that are already in there. So I would really love it if you came and joined me in Facebook, Sidereal Stars with Kel. You'll find the link below, I'm sure. And if that's all you want to watch today, awesome. If not, let's go have a look at the chart, and I'll go in a little bit deeper to each of the aspects. And of course, Zoom has changed things around a bit. So they've got all these funny things on the screen, and I'm hoping you can't see them. All right. So first up, Monday, we have Uranus and the North Node are conjunct. They're within 2 degrees of each other in Aries. And this aspect has been around for some time, but I feel called to speak about it now because this week, the 21st of November, we end the eclipse season. And the first eclipse season for 2022 began in Aries. So there's an opportunity this week with this aspect for you to just do a bit of a review. How are you different from May this year? What changed for you? What really changed for you? What's the vision for you moving forward now? What's that looking like? And is it amplified or driven, that Aries energy, driven by a why? Why are you doing the things that you do? That's really the questions that I have in relation to that aspect for Monday. And then if we move to Tuesday, the 22nd of November, you can see here we have the trine between Saturn and Mars. So let's take a little bit of a dive into the archetypal energy for both of those signs. I mentioned it very briefly at the beginning. So Saturn has the archetype of the leader. So the leader is the one that may need to make difficult decisions at times. But if they're a good leader, they should listen, they should be benevolent, they should be willing to sort of hug and bring together the people that are potentially working for them. They should have considered systems and methodologies, and that they should be open also to improving those systems and methodologies if they're not working. And you can hear the description there. It sounds a bit like a CEO, a good CEO, good leaders. And it might be an opportunity for you to think about, if you are a leader, what are the qualities that you bring into your leadership? But also maybe if you're not a leader, but you do aspire to be one, what are the leaders around you doing? So it's a great time to review what's a good leader and a bad leader. And I'm going to be pretty black and white there. What's a good leader and a bad leader? And what are some of the things they do? And you get to choose what sort of leader you're going to be, because of course I can't make that decision for you. I've certainly been doing that over the last few days, noticing the qualities of what makes a good leader. Now, when this energy is trine Mars, 2 earth signs, Mars is over here in Taurus. Mars energy is our energy, it's our vitality, it's our focus, it's doing, it's action. But in Taurus, it's a little bit slower. Taurus is a bit more considered and a bit slower, maybe wants to take things in a bit more, maybe wants to be a bit more steady, wants to make sure they're not just wasting resources for the sake of getting things done. Maybe they are thinking, am I really only taking what I need to do what it is that I need to do and create what it is what I want to create? So there's this lovely opportunity for you to be maybe a slower leader. Maybe that's what we need instead of this continual growth, which is a myth, infinite growth, which is a myth, that maybe we can slow down. You know, this whole concept of productivity driving countries' GDP, and when the productivity drops, you've got to go in there and wind up the workers. Don't worry, it's all right. I'm one of them as well. One of the workers, slaves, to make them produce more so that, you know, the people in the middle of the circle can make more money. Well, actually, that's not supportive for our emotional intelligence, our energetic intelligence. It's not supportive for our body and our mind. So maybe going a little bit slower, maybe being a leader that is willing to just pause for a bit, go a bit slower. Okay, things don't always need to be at a hectic pace. So that's the opportunity that aspect offers all week. It's there for it's there for the whole week, this energy. And then we move to the 24th of November, which I mentioned was the new moon in Scorpio. So as you can see there, if I shift this to hours, you can see the new moon, I only use a 3-degree orb. The new moon starts in Libra. And it's moving with the sun. The moon and the sun move together so that there's 0 degrees. They're almost exact 0 degrees in Scorpio when the new moon hits. But it starts in Libra. So Libra has this quality of compassionate advocacy, and we've just had 2 weeks of it. Perhaps you were also seeking out more harmonious connections. Perhaps you were seeking out people. There'd been a lot of sort of mental capacity, analytical capacity in Virgo, and all this work around our health and our wellness, perhaps. And then you got to go out and connect and really embrace those issues that you feel passionate about and want to bring justice to. And interestingly enough, that's really what happened with me, is my message and what it is that I want to act for has gotten much, much clearer over the last 2 weeks. But what I'm noticing happening on the lead up to the new moon, and I'm speaking, the day I'm recording this is the 17th of November. So we're going to be heading into where we're in a waning moon. And it's the time that I tend to notice what it is that I need to process before I'm born anew. So it's kind of like you're almost starting to die and rot and let things go. Oh, okay, I don't need to take that with me. Something that came up for me is kind of like one of your key, because we don't always get a Scorpio new moon in sidereal astrology. We didn't get one last year. What is that really one big habit, I dare say habit or pattern that you fall back to, but holds you back? It annoys you, but you keep falling back on it. And it's a neural pathway that you've developed and it's really strong, but you really want to crack it. You really want to break it. You want to start to remove this pattern, this habit from your life. It's a great opportunity to set that intention now, because we'll get to look at ourselves. We'll get to see our inner realm, perhaps in shadow. But when you start to untether yourselves from those big habits and patterns that are holding you back, that are limiting you somehow, and you really start to untether yourself from them, that's when you can start to do the work of the eclipse season. That's when you can start to make changes. That's when you can start to really work towards those issues that you feel passionate about. There is always this process every year where we die a little, but it's not, well, we kind of are dying a little as we all head towards death, but it's also that things that we don't need to keep carrying with us, stories that we don't need to keep carrying with us, emotional baggage that we don't need to keep carrying with us. And there's another aspect this week that is going to support this new moon energy. So you might feel into whether there's kind of an about face with how you want to work with your vision and your mission and those issues that you're passionate about, and that it might seem discomforting to some people to listen and sit with, but it's kind of the reality. Like, you're kind of exposing the reality. It's kind of what Scorpio does, exposes the reality, the gnarly reality, and then helps us process it so that we can then come out. And what's interesting is, of course, last week, as you can see, Venus and Mercury is still here, and Venus is still very close to the sun, so we can't see her. And in that great epic myth of the descent of Inanna is still in the underworld. And those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, it matches up really nicely with you sliding much, much deeper into winter. It's a great time to be resting more, to be connecting with your ancestors, to be looking at your shadows, to be processing your shadows. And because it's the end of the eclipse season, it's a really big call for us to go, okay, what are the things we want to change? We kind of have to do something differently. And maybe it's going to take looking at gnarly things, part of ourself, part of the collective conscious, because there's some gnarly things in the collective conscious that need to go, and of course, the collective unconscious. So I would encourage you under this new moon to do a ritual. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to do a ritual. Do a ritual, feel into what feels good for you to embody what it is that you want to bring in over the next month before we hit Christmas. Thank you very much. Or the summer solstice, I should say. Summer solstice for me, winter solstice for those in the Northern Hemisphere. Then the following day after the new moon, you will have seen, well, the same day actually, Jupiter. I only shifted that 1 hour. I didn't shift it one day. So then on the 25th, 24th, 25th, there we go, 25th, Jupiter is moving direct. So as we've gone through the new moon portal, as we've come out of the eclipse portal, perhaps we were feeling a little bit confused. There was some sort of information that we needed, but we weren't quite sure which direction to go, where to expand into. Well, now that Jupiter's moving forward in Pisces, we get to allow ourselves to expand more into that area that we want to explore more, find wonderment in. Now, it might not necessarily be with the physical senses. It might be more with the subtle anatomy, because it's in Pisces. And I would really encourage you this week with the beautiful Scorpio new moon, watery energy. Moon also represents our intuition. We've got the Pisces energy with Jupiter appearing to move forward in our sky now. We can start to expand into that area that we want to expand into, not feeling confusion now. We know where we're going to go. That's helped by the Mars direction and the Saturn energy really starting to bring some consistent, consolidated steps towards where it is we want to expand into. And of course, with the new moon energy, and then with the next aspect, which is it around, it's around for a few days this week. Chiron is trine Venus. Now, this is where the alchemist, and when I say alchemist in you in relation to Chiron, is that you will have healed things in your life. And what this aspect is an opportunity for you to do is to examine what it is you've healed in your life and how you did it. And I'm saying how you did it because you did it. There will be parts of your life that you have healed, and you may not feel like you're healed, but I guarantee you there will be parts of your life that you have healed and you did it. So I want you to sit and vibrate in that power, because that's part of your power, and that's what Scorpio is about. And in particular, Venus in the underworld, when Inanna was in the underworld, she had to negotiate to come out. She had to make some pretty icky decisions about how she was going to get out of the underworld. Was she going to condemn someone that she really loved to come into the underworld so she could get out? Or was she going to condemn someone that who had wronged her? So you see there's icky, this vengeance feel to it, right? But this is trine energy. So you get to look at the icky parts of your story, but now you get to see them sort of from an outsider's view and embrace them as, I did that. Look at how good I was at negotiating that icky situation in my life. And I'm going to embrace that aspect of self, that powerful. I'm going to alchemize that and use that as part of my transformation as we have this a week and a half of Scorpio energy. We only get a week and a half of Scorpio energy. That's probably a good thing. Get all this Virgo energy to serve and get things sorted and make sure that we're looking after ourselves. But every year we get this week and a half of Scorpio energy where it is a time for us to start to embrace our power more. And our power comes from our self-healing and then helping others embrace their own power. That's what it's all about. And over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the Saturn trine continues. And that's really about it. I didn't really talk too much about the sun entering into Scorpio because that's teamed with the new moon. So it's our emotional intelligence teamed with our creative abilities, and our desire to shine in our truest expression means that we have to be very intimate with ourselves and embrace all aspects of self, even the icky ones. There's something I wrote that I did want to read. So it's kind of like we're ending denial and we're acknowledging our shadows, personal and collective, and we're setting about attempting to right the wrongs. Now, that might feel uncomfortable if we've got particular strong neural pathways that we need to interrupt. That's it for this week. If you are interested, of course, in working with me, you can go and look at my website, kellygunter.com. I am creating the Soul Service Astrology 2023 planner. and it is happening, and it's still on pre-sale. The price will be going up soon. Unfortunately, materials have increased and my printer is reevaluating the price. So if you would like to get in there before I know what the reevaluated price is at the lower price, then please do that, kellygunter.com, and you will have a beautiful physical copy of a planner that will be both creative and practical and have all the moons and the seasons, and you'll never forget them again, and it will be timed with the seasons and the moons. And so you'll start to come back into that more ecological connection, because your planner and your calendar will be mapped out that way. So I'll see you next week. Don't forget, you can also ask questions and leave comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. Have a glorious week. Bye.